Have you ever wondered, what can a real estate agent do for me? Stay tuned to find out. Today I'd like to talk to you about the fiduciary duties of a real estate agent to their client. This is information that is included in a brochure entitled Working with Real Estate Agents, published by the North Carolina Real Estate Commission. This information should be reviewed between you and any potential agent working with you before you discuss any personal or confidential information. As a buyer's agent, I will provide you with some essential obligations. The fiduciary duties are duties that I am bound to observe as part of my relationship as your agent and you being my client. The first is obedience. As your agent, I am to obey your lawful commands as long as they do not counter any existing real estate laws. The second is loyalty. I am to be loyal to you as your agent and perform all functions that are in your best interest, even if those might not be in my best interest. The third is disclosure. I am to disclose to you all material facts. Material facts are any fact that would significantly affect your decision to purchase a home. The fourth is confidentiality. When we talk about buying a house, there are many factors that go into your decision to buy a house, economic, social, and otherwise. So as your agent, you will share a lot of information with me that you would not necessarily want other people to know. As your agent, I have a duty to keep that information confidential while working as your agent. The next is accountability and accounting. For any funds that we produce in the function of buying a house, I will be diligent in keeping up with those amounts and letting you know exactly where those go. Most commonly in a buying situation, there are two types of deposits that will be put down with an offer to purchase: earnest money and due diligence. So you will know where those funds go and when they have been received by the parties for which they were intended. The last duty to you as your agent is reasonable care and responsibility. Basically, that means I have to use all of my training as a real estate agent to interpret the real estate laws and other rules that govern us in real estate transactions. Anytime that I'm asked to do something to your agent, I have to do that to the best of my ability. Actually, I have to do that to the best ability of any agent that would be available. So as your agent, you'll know that you are getting reasonable care and skill when I'm working with you. There are several different ways that you may work with an agent when you are in a transaction. The first would be as a buyer's agent. In a buyer's agent arrangement, that agent is working with you to buy a property, and the buyer's agent represents you alone. Another way you could work with agents as a seller's agent, and that's when you have property and you're selling and you've contracted with the seller's agent to sell the property for you. In any of these situations, an agent acts as an extension of you, the client. We have specific duties that we can perform on your behalf, and those are outlined in the agency agreements. You will sign a buyer agency agreement with a buyer's agent or a seller's agency agreement with a seller's agent. There is also a special type of agency known as dual agency. In dual agency, there may be one person or one firm that represents both the buyer and the seller. In North Carolina, you must give your specific permission for this to occur. This cannot occur without your written authorization. The most common way that we'll find dual agency is when a buyer agent representing you has a listing that you want to see, and the agent that is the listing agent or the seller's agent works in the same real estate firm as your buyer's agent. Because both agents work for the same firm, the firm is acting as a dual agent. If you allow that to happen, you are able to see the house, even though it's represented by the same firm. And in the actual transaction, the individual agents will remain buyer agents and seller agents. A more unusual case would be when you have a single agent who represents both the buyer and the seller. And in this case, there can be some issues with negotiating power when the same agent represents both parties. In general, the fiduciary duties of the agent can still be realized to both parties, but negotiation can become a little bit tricky. The final form of dual agency does involve a firm acting as dual agent. Two different agents work for the same firm. One agent's for the buyer and one's for the seller. But in this special case of dual agency, you have what's called a designated agency agreement. And basically the seller's agent is designated to work for the seller. The buyer's agent is designated to work for the buyer. And this allows an extra degree of protection to your ability to have your fiduciary duties met by the agent and also retain negotiating power.